Hi there everyone, I hope you are having a fabulous day. I'm coming to you with another makeup tutorial by Beauty and Style by Erin Bradley. And can you see anything different? Perhaps it's the beautiful sparkle that is behind me. Big shout out and thank you to 4Frames for dropping off some of their equipment from a distance, of course. But anyways, yeah, so trying out something new, so hope you like it. So today I've had a request to do a colorful eye. Now, I tend to wear more neutral makeup, usually gold, bronze, are kind of the colors I stay in, but I'm gonna try something different today. I'm gonna try purple. So I pulled out my makeup kit, my professional one, and tried to find some of the brightest purples and kind of fun colors that I don't get to use all the time, and we're gonna see what happens. So we're gonna start like we always do with our eyes first. Really important because we're gonna be using bright colors. We're likely gonna drop some underneath. So definitely we're gonna wanna start with our eyes. So I'm gonna get my base. So today we're gonna use a matte one. So this is Painterly by MAC. And just gonna get a dab and we're just gonna use our finger and go in and apply this to the lid. Now this is more of a matte color and some of the purples that I'm starting with today are more matte. So the matte over matte is just gonna show off a bit more of the color, but you definitely want to put down some sort of primer. You could do more of like a clear color primer, but I like this one because it's just a little bit lighter than my skin tone and evens it out. You could also use a concealer, waterproof concealer would also work. So we're just gonna go in and even that out. Make sure you go all the way up to your eyebrow because we're gonna be blending this color up higher, and if you stop part way, it's gonna be really obvious where you actually like stopped with your primer when you start going with your shadow. So make sure you like shear that out all the way up to your eyebrow and then blend it a little bit out to the outside. You can even do like a little bit underneath your eye, because we're going to be going in there with some color, so a little bit along your lash line, like that. There we go. All right, primed and ready. So now we're going to do the next step and actually set that shadow, or sorry, set that primer. And I'm going to use a different product today than my normal. So I'm going to use the Hourglass. So this is one of the Hourglass products. It's called Ambient in Incandescent Strobe Light. So it's a really great like soft highlighter for your cheekbones, or you can use it on your eyes. I like products that you can use multiple spots. So we're gonna go in with this and I'm taking a fluffier brush. So when you're trying to pick your brushes, a fluffier brush that's a little bit more rounded and fluffy is going to shear out your product. So you're gonna get less color. So in brush selection, it's important to think about the shape of where you're doing the product and how dense you want the color. So using that soft shadow and going in and just setting, and it's got a little bit of a highlight, but it's not super frosty. So it's just gonna softly set that primer, that eye base, and just create a nice base for the color that we're gonna go in with. And then this brush is going to be your fix-it brush. So once we start doing the blending with the purple, we're gonna need this brush to kind of soften the edges. So keep this brush separate and don't be dipping it in any purple. There we go. Okay, so keep that brush separate, base done. Okay, so now I've pulled out a couple colors in my kit of purple to try. So I'm either gonna do, I'm not sure quite yet, this one, which is, it's actually an old one that I've had for quite a long time, but it's called Shock-o-holic. Shock-o-holic, sorry. Anyway, so it's either gonna be that one, or I'm going to try this one right here that I've got from Makeup Forever. And I'll make sure to note the color. So I'm gonna try the matte one first, the MAC one. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with my crease brush. So let's see here. Now I picked a clean one because I don't want to mix it up. Where'd that brush go? Okay. Well, can't find it. It's all good. So we're taking this brush, this one from Elate, the blend brush. So we're going to go in and we're going to work the color in with this. So taking that purple shadow, and you really want to like work it all the way into the brush. And again, you can tap it into the brush more like that so that you're not getting a whole dusting of purple everywhere. And when you start, like when you look straight at your eye, from the outside of your lash line to the outside of your brow is your border that you want to keep the color within. Now, because this is a brighter color, I'm going to start really close to my lash line and just slowly work it up into my crease, so not to go too crazy. So I'm just going to start by stippling. Like that. And you can see it's starting to kind of go right in there into the crease, but always start back at that lash line and then work the color kind of straight up and over. And then whatever's left on the brush, you can kind of slowly start to go up a little bit higher, like that. Now, purple is a great color that most people are really scared of. Now, you might not want to do a dramatic eye like I'm doing today, but even if you wanted to try it as a liner, it's really complimentary for blue eyes, green eyes, brown eyes, pretty much any color of eye it's going to pick up and brighten. The only thing is you want to think about the tone of purple. So if you've got a lot of pink in your skin and undertones, picking too warm of a purple, like more of like a burgundy or whatnot, is going to have a bit more pink in it and might start bringing out more pink in your skin and making you look more tired. And we don't want that. So if you've got more of a like kind of pink undertone, try maybe more of like a cooler purple. So something maybe a little bit more taupey would work. But we're just going in there and mapping out this. So we're just going to keep going in like that and brighten that crease. And then if you want to make it more of a cat eye, what you're going to do is you're going to start extending the shadow just softly outside. Kind of still keeping in that same like shape. Make a bit more of a lifted eye. But because we've done that base already, we can start to see, you know, kind of where that lift needs to come, rather than trying to start with that as your first step, trying to go out into your crease and do that. So it's better to do the crease first and then drag it out softly to do more of a cat eye. There we go. I'm gonna look so fancy to go get my recycling at the curb. It is fancy. There we go. So a little purple. Also, when you're trying to figure out how high up to go, my lids are quite descending, so they tend to like droop a little bit at the outside. So I can actually go up a little bit higher and closer to my brow to make it pop and stand out a little bit more if I'm doing more of a dramatic eye. So don't be afraid, like after you've gone in there, to kind of lift it up, and looking kind of straight at the mirror will give you an idea of what your lid's gonna look like when it relaxes. Like that. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Smoky. So now what we can do, now that we've gone in with this like bright medium color, we can go in with a darker purple to start deepening it a little bit. Now you could stop here and just do liner and be done, but I'm gonna go a little bit darker. So I'm gonna use a color called Sketch from MAC. So this is my palette that I've got here, and it's this dark purple that's kind of like right there at the bottom that I'm going to use. So it's a really great kind of like eggplant color that is just going to give that purple a little extra depth. So going in with the same brush and just starting at that lash line again and almost doing like a slightly smaller C within that bigger C. And again, I'm just kind of like wisping it out a little bit more smoky. The other side. It's kind of fun to try color. Again, like I said, you could always just do this as a liner. So if you've got like a fun bright shadow, you could even take, like if you've got like a brown or whatever regular liner color you use, do your liner, like do the pencil, and then you could take this shadow on an angle brush and just put it over top of the brown, and you would get like a really like kind of like darker purple basically. So it's a way that you can experiment with your colors and use up shadows that you wouldn't normally use in a more subtle way. So we're just gonna go in and give a little extra there. Okay, now what I'm gonna do now is go in with my other base brush. So this is the brush that we used at the very beginning, that light shadow, and I'm just gonna go in and go very softly around the edge, not wiping off the product, but just kind of softening and making sure that it's fading perfectly. If all else fails, blend, blend, blend. There we go. Yay. All right, dark smoky eye. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna keep the under my eye lighter. We're gonna keep it softer. So what I am gonna do is gonna go in with an angle brush. This is the 266 from Mac. And I'm going to use, let's see, we'll use a little bit of that brighter purple that I did, that very matte first one. And we're just gonna go underneath my lash line very softly, but I'm not going to go under there with a lot of dark. I'm going to keep it softer and keep more of the drama on top like that. So you just kind of more on the outer half of the eye rather than doing it all the way to the inside. I'm just doing the outer half and kind of feathering it in and just dabbing in with the color. Pretty soft. There we go. Just kind of finishes it off a little bit. There. Now I've left the center of my lid, again, a little bit lighter. So I want to put something in there to blend this and make it a little bit more even looking. So let's try, let's use something a little bit sparkly. I'm going to try a color from Mac that is called Woodwinked. So it's this classic goldy brown shine color that, here, let me show you. It is this one right there. So just like a fairly neutral goldy brown. You could use that light highlighter shadow that we used already. You could use something that has glitter in it. I'm just gonna use something to kind of add just a little extra shine in the center of my lid. So I'm going in with just a small kind of pointed brush and just dabbing it in the center and blending it into that spot. Now we don't want to go too close to the outside where we've just done the darker color. Like that. There, so it's just going to brighten. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that gold on the brush and I'm going to put it underneath my lash line. So I'm going to go in and kind of do it a little bit more on the inside, but blend it over just the edge of where I did that purple liner just at the outside. Like that. There we go. So just giving a little bit more brightening and a little bit more gold. Gold and purple are both colors that really make green eyes pop. So I'm going to try to make my hazel eyes look a little more green. Okay, so next step, let's do some liner. So I'm going to be brave today and try to do some liquid liner for you guys. So here we go. I don't normally wear liquid liner very often. And I don't wear black liner very often at all. So here we go. So we're going to try, this is the KatVonDee Trooper Black, the liner. I really like the tip of it. So it's got a really nice fine tip and it just glides on really easily. So sometimes the brushes work better for people. Lots of different options. So find one that works for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to, because it's kind of tapered in, you can start kind of on the inside just with that very fine tip and blend. I'm going to start from the center just because I tend to be a little bit more heavy-handed when I first start. So center to the outside is where I want more product anyways. And we're going to go in, and when you're trying to do this yourself and looking straight into a mirror, generally you want to tilt your chin up as much as possible so it opens up your eyelid so you can get right in there. You'll also want to make sure that you're kind of coming in from an angle and not going underneath your lashes, or you're just going to end up fighting with your lashes. And little dashes, and then you can go backwards to kind of finish it. Because your lid tends to move, right? Like that skin stretches sometimes, so I find it's easier to do the, you know, inside going this way, but then when you're doing the outside, it's easier to go backwards. The skin stretches a lot less and you get a lot less of those little like bumpy, jumpy lines. So I'm just gonna kind of do little dashes down to where my lashes stop, and then to get the tail of the cat eye of this, I'm gonna go backwards. Kind of like that. I don't know if you guys can see that. And you want to make sure that you get that product right down to the lash line, so that there's not a space. And I'm using my finger just to kind of softly like drag the line a little bit. I might go in with some shadow after to clean that up or make it like a little bit thicker, but we're gonna try that. So other eye. So this is my trickier eye to do. So little tiny dashes right on that inside of the eye, like that. So that top needs to be a little bit thicker, like that. I'm not going to go too crazy dramatic here, but basically when you're trying to figure out how far out to go with the liner or where the shape should be, where your lashes naturally lift up, that shape, and kind of if you were to follow from your lower lash line, kind of following up on that angle, that's where that line should be. It should be sitting behind where your lashes are. So if you're doing fake lashes or if you've got really long lashes, you want the liner to sit kind of behind that. You don't want the liner like swooping up this way, but then your lashes like a little bit above that. So now you can also kind of fill in the shadow a little bit. So I want to make sure that that is tapering the shadow and the liner together. So I'm going to actually go in with a little bit. Sorry, drop my crease brush. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of that purple on that crease brush again and just do a little bit to combine that liner with the shadow, like that. Okay, cool. So now that we've done some liner, I am gonna go in and start doing some skin and some other stuff. We'll leave the doing lashes and like mascara and whatnot to the end, but I'm gonna go in and do some brows. So we're using my favorite Brow Wiz from Anastasia in blonde, and we're gonna go in and just add in some definition to the center because my brows are a little bit more sparse there. Like that, and then create a little bit more of an arch, and then define my tail. There is definitely room for having some more darkness right at that outside there, so just making sure that you're doing little dashes and imitating hair. Now if you're missing full patches, you're definitely going to go in and need to use a pencil and do those little tiny strokes. You can always go in with a shadow afterwards, but you're definitely going to need to use a pencil for that. So just going in like that. There we go. And like I said, they just need to look like sisters that get along. Shout out to my lovely sister that I do get along with. So, hi from BC. Hope you guys are doing well in Ontario. There we go. Okay, yeah, way better. Definitely some more definition there. And then I'm just gonna use a little brush that comes on the end of it to just comb that product in and make sure I didn't get too much in one area. And there we go. Okay, so brows done. Check. So now we're gonna go on to skin. So I'm gonna try something different today. So I'm actually gonna use like a, oh, sorry about that. So I'm gonna do something a little bit, there we go. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. I'm actually going to use a foundation. So it's a sheer tinted foundation from, okay, so for skin, I'm actually gonna do something a little bit different today. I'm actually gonna try using a tinted foundation from Elate. So usually I just do concealer and then powder and that's it, but I'm gonna try something new. So we're gonna try the Elate Fairest. This is their Fresh Tint foundation. I'm just squirting a little on my hand here. And I'm gonna go in with this Quo brush. It's a nice kind of buffing foundation brush that you can use for powder or cream. And we're gonna go in and just starting in the areas where I want a little bit more coverage, I'm gonna go in with that brush. Now I was lucky, I actually didn't really drop any shadow underneath my eyes today, I'm noticing. Probably because I didn't use much underneath my eye, but anyway, so you could use your fingers to do this, but I like how a brush will give a little bit more of like an airbrushed look. So you can actually stipple it like this and get a little extra coverage. So if you have rosacea, you can deposit a little bit more product. This product also is nice because it doesn't go too glowy and it's not too creamy. So it actually dries a little bit more on the like natural matte side, I would say, depending on, I've got fairly average skin. It's not super oily, but for doing a more dramatic eye, I want to have a little bit more polished skin today. I'm just trying to switch it up. There we go, a little bit under the eyes. And then always bring it down on your jawline like this, just to make sure you blended and you didn't miss a spot. Like that. Let's do a little bit on my forehead. There we go. Great product. What I love too about Elate is that it's a local company. So great. So actually, you know, started here in Victoria. Shout out to Melody. So thank you, Melody, for creating such an amazing product and making it in Canada. All right. So there we go. Foundation done. So what am I gonna do? Okay. Concealer. Yeah, let's do some concealer. So let's see, just gonna find my concealer. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with the Becca concealer. So one of my favorites, so this one, it's got a nice little bit of a peachy tone to it. And this is gonna help brighten my inner under eye, especially if you're using purple. You definitely wanna make sure you get rid of any purple or discoloration or dark circles underneath your eyes. That is a must. Pretty much any smoky eye or colored, you wanna really brighten that under eye. So I'm just using my finger to dab this on. Now, less is more. This concealer definitely a little goes a long way, and it does have more of like kind of like a sheen to it. You can see it there. It's a little bit more shiny going on. So it's creamy. You don't want a lot or it'll just crease and you'll put too much on like that. But it's really great for brightening, for me at least. But it's got like that little bit of peachy undertone that just helps get rid of darkness right underneath my eye. Okay, I'm just gonna dab a couple little areas. That foundation actually did a really nice job evening out some of the discoloration I have. Might have to add that into my regular routine. Anyways, okay, concealer done. So now we're gonna set with some powder. So I'm going in with my favorite Elate product too, the Glowing Veiled Elation loose powder and my multi-use brush. I'm just taking a little bit of it, here we go, and dabbing it and swirling it around into the lid of the brush rather than just like sticking it into a whole bunch of the product and then getting too much on your face. Tapping it into the brush. And then what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go in and just lightly set kind of the main areas. So my nose, cheeks, forehead, chin, and then whatever's left on the brush, I'm gonna do a little bit, like dragging it both ways under my eyes, down my neck, because we wanna have a nice set base for any color that we're gonna add over top. So blush, bronzer, any of that, we wanna set so there's no moisture on our face to grab to that color. Okay, so now that that's done, now we can go in with our bronzer. So I'm using the Marc Jacobs Tantastic, and we're gonna use the 170 MAC brush, that kind of nice angled, and just going in and mostly using it kind of on that, like this part of the brush right here. So that lower half, so the shorter bit. And we're gonna go in and do some contouring. So starting at the center of my ear in that hollow that is right beneath your cheekbone. So you can feel the bone right there. It's right underneath that. So we're gonna start there. Now that is definitely darker than I was maybe hoping for. A little bit stronger, but we can fix that. So what I would do to fix that is go in with my powder brush and kind of pinch it a little bit and just kind of work it in to the skin a little bit. So there would be a little bit of powder on that brush still. I don't want to like drag that brown down, so I'm just kind of working it in to the skin and working a little bit off. Same time, much better. There we go. Yeah, these dense brushes, they pick up a lot of product, so you definitely don't want to go quite as strong as maybe I did there. But you can start right in at your lash line there, or sorry, your lash line, your hairline, and then just buff it forward. And stopping when you get, it's almost like right below the outside of your eye that you're stopping on that side. You don't want to bring it too close to the front of your cheek. Like that. There we go. I'm gonna do a little bit on my nose, a little bit across my hairline, a little bit on my jawline. And I'm just using what's left on that brush. Feeling very fancy with this gold glitter background. For any of you that do know me, You know how much I love gold glitter. Before I had this backdrop, I was like, can I just take all my sparkly dresses and hang them up behind me? This is much smarter. A little bit easier. Okay. All right, so bronzer check. So now we're gonna go in with some blush. So I'm actually gonna use, instead of doing a cream today, we're actually gonna do a powder. So I'm gonna go in, I pulled out some of my old favorites. This is a Nars one called Orgasm. And I'm using like kind of like a smaller blush brush. And we're just gonna go in and dab a little bit on this one side of the product. Sorry, one side of the brush. And we're gonna go in, and so just on the apples of my cheeks, so when I smile, it's kind of that top area right there, and then up. So it just gives like a really nice soft flush of color. Now this blush has a little bit of a, like a gold undertone. If you have a really even cheek color, I would recommend this would work. But if you've got a lot of texture to your skin, or you have a lot of redness there, I would steer away from a product like this that has sparkle in it and that is quite more like kind of like that pinky peach tone. But yeah, you can always soften it with your face powder too. So that powder brush that I did my Fix It with my bronzer when I made that mistake, you can always take this over top and just soften the edges. But I'm gonna go into a little bit more. Blush just makes you more alive. So even if you're doing a super simple makeup, a little bit of blush and lip color goes a long way. So to finish that, I'm gonna use the other side of the brush. So I'm gonna use the clean side, and I'm gonna use that highlighter. So that same Hourglass, Ambient, what was it called? Incandescent Strobe Light. I'm gonna use that product on my cheekbones. So I'm gonna go in and do some highlighting with those kind of tones. It's like a kind of a champagne with a little bit of like a soft gold in there, just to kind of blend. And what this will do is it'll kind of blend that blush into this area. Again, though, we don't want to bring it too close to under your eye. We don't want to highlight any like smile lines, laugh lines in that area. You can do a little bit and dab your nose, a little on the bow of your lip. Like that. Okay. Okay, so we have done my cheeks, my skin, we've done brows, eyes. So let's go in and do some mascara. Now I may do some lashes today for you. I might attempt it. Let's just get really fancy. So for mascara, I'm gonna jump in with my primer. So this is my Tightline It Cosmetics 3-in-1 eyelash primer. That the Tightline idea basically is that it gets right into the base of your lashes and deposits product there that makes it look like you've done liner on that kind of under lash line there. Got a little bit underneath my eye there. There we go. So get right close. And the key is like getting right to the base and just wiggling that brush to deposit that product, rather than just kind of like doing it haphazardly just on the tips of your lashes. Get right to the base. Like so. I'm gonna do a little bit underneath my eye. Just kind of like wiggling it back and forth. Like that. There we go, mascara. And then I'm gonna go in with my MAC Upward Lash that has been sadly discontinued. If anyone can recommend, they've used this mascara before and they've got a new favorite, feel free to let me know. I've tried multiple mascaras when MAC discontinued my other favorite mascara. Bit of a trend here, but I used to use Zoom Lash from MAC. I loved that stuff. It was nice and thick. Used it for years, and then it was changed and discontinued, the one I used. So this one was kind of one of the like third ones I tried to replace that one, and it seems to work pretty good. But sadly now I need to find a new one. So I'm on the hunt for a new mascara from home. Okay, so now that we've done some mascara, I'm gonna let that dry, because if we were to try to go in with lashes right now, that wetness is just gonna go everywhere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in with some lips, and then we'll wait for that to dry. So I'm gonna use my Fenty. This is the Gloss Bomb in Fussy. So just gonna go in and add a dab of this to my lips. It's got like a really nice kind of soft pink peach tone. My lips are feeling pretty dry today. I'm not using a liner or anything. I just kind of want to keep the focus on my eyes. And I have a pretty like fair lip color. So this just goes on and just gives me a really nice soft nude lip. You could go in with a like lighter lipstick that's got, you know, maybe a shade lighter than your lip color, or a pencil, and fill your lip in and then put gloss over top. That would also work. But just to give a little bit of shine. There we go. Okay, so let's do lashes. So let's talk about lashes first. Now, apparently, when I put lashes on, I usually look in the mirror and try to do this. There's multiple ways you can do it. You can actually like hold a mirror kind of in your lap and look down and place them on that way. Apparently the angle works really well. Some people like to use tweezers to put them on. I'm gonna do individuals today, so even a bigger challenge to put individuals on myself, but we're gonna go in and I'm just gonna use my fingers. I find it easier. So I just use these ones, the Ardell, like short. They come in short, medium, or long. So usually the short do the trick for me. I've used some medium sometimes, but I've got smaller eyes. So, and I'm gonna use the, let's see here, the Duo Lash Glue. And I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit just into the outer edge of that plastic. And that's where I'm gonna dip the lash into the glue just to get a little bit on the edge. And you don't want a lot of glue, but you want enough. Like this glue is great. It looks white, but it dries clear. I prefer that over the black glue. So Duo has a black glue, but if you accidentally get it up on your lid or you go above your liner, you can see it and it's just a bit of a mess. So I like to use the clear one. So now I've got the little tiny lash there, it's very small, and I'm going to start at the outside and just try to like sink it and press it into my lash line. Now you want to make sure that you have a liner or something on there. If you're not wearing liner, it's tricky to put lashes in because you'll start to see them, or if you're doing a full band, you'll see the line. So you can also do them underneath your lashes. That's a bit trickier. So I'm going to set them on top, but I'm just going to go in and press it into my lash line. So what you'll see first though is it'll look like there is a bit, that little white dot that you can kind of see. It's going to look a little bit weird, but that dries clear, so don't worry. Now I'm actually gonna, it's tricky to see. I'm only going to do some just on the outer edge. So this is just going to give a little bit more extension to the cat eye that I'm creating. And the great thing about individuals is you can place them kind of where you need them. So if you're missing patches or you've got like some spaces and you just want to fill them in just to give a little bit more like fullness, it works really well. So I might just stop there. So with that, you can also go in after and put some mascara on them if you want to thicken them up a little bit. So I love that it's a Tuesday and I'm wearing eyelashes. All right, there we go. Individual lashes can definitely be a little bit more stubborn than doing a full band sometimes. So just getting that placement and so that they're not all like sticking everywhere can be a little bit tricky. So beware, it's not probably gonna be awesome your very first time doing them, but they're a nice subtle way and they're definitely more comfortable doing than doing a full band. I certainly use more individuals on my clients. They're tend to be more comfortable and they stay on a little bit better, I find. And for first time lash wearers, they're yeah, way more comfortable. Can't really even feel them on. But, oops, sorry. But you're still gonna wanna remove them at the end of each day. They're not lash extensions, so use a little bit of makeup remover or some kind of oil to loosen the glue and then take it off. Don't pull them out dry. So don't just start from dry and start pulling them out because they're attached to your lashes. You could remove some of your own lashes. We don't want that. We want to keep those as much as possible. Okay, so you can see on this other eye that it's actually dried pretty much. Again, you could go in with a little bit more mascara, but just gives, there we go, just gives like a little bit extra to that cat eye feel. And then this eye will dry a little bit more. And there we go. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my bright purple eye tutorial. Have a great day. Until next time. Love you. Bye.